This is a Fox News alert. The district attorney prosecuting the illegal migrants accused of killing 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungaray, making an exclusive announcement earlier right here on Fox and Friends.
We'll be filing notice by the state of Texas that we intend to seek the death penalty against Jocelyn's murderers, Pena and Rangel. Both were Venezuelan nationals. They had been captured while committing a crime, coming into this country illegally, and then within days of murdering and raping Jocelyn Nungaray. So we are seeking death because we want the message out there that regardless of who you are, but especially if you are illegally in this country, that you will face the same consequences as anyone else for murdering a child during the course of raping and kidnapping her.
That announcement just moments ago here on Fox. Back in June, 12-year-old Jocelyn was found, strangled, and assaulted, as you just heard the DA say, in a shallow creek near Houston, Texas.
We covered this story. Days after her body was found, police arrested 2 Venezuelan illegal migrants who are also suspected members of Tren de Aragua gang, as you know, TDG.
So both of those suspects are in jail with a $10 million bond for each. They have pleaded not guilty.
Remember, they were working at a construction site, remember? Yeah. And they had found a way, I guess, had enough paperwork in order to start working. But this is what they did.
This is Texas. This is Texas. You can't get away with stuff like this in these southern states, in these red states. The little girl was 12 years old. Think about that. If you're a human being, not just a parent, that means probably 7th grade. 7th grade, and they raped her. And then killed her.
So, Lawrence, you're from Texas. Explain, if you will, that area, they've had a lot of Democrat mayors over the last period of time, but it's not a sanctuary city. Explain why.
Well, it's illegal to be a sanctuary city in the state of Texas. Not only will you not get funding, but essentially they passed a state law in the state of Texas saying you can't be a sanctuary. So the governor and the legislature did away with that, but it is still a red line. I mean, she is in Houston. All Democrats run Houston, Texas. Very progressive, but she's from the state of Texas. She understands the voters, and they just don't like this. So not only is she going after illegals within, I mean, it wasn't just the criminal elements. She's saying they are not welcome in the city of Houston and going against her party by seeking the death penalty. Remember, the party at large is against
the DA
capital
is a
murder.
Democrat?
Yes, she is a Democrat.
Well, and she said crime knows no party.
Crime knows no party.
Here's more.
We base these decisions on the strength of the evidence and the gruesomeness of this crime. And yes, I've spoken with Alexis Nungaray multiple times, along with her father. Their family is supportive of this move. The Democratic policies of open borders have failed the American public. If the Justice for Jocelyn Act filed by Senator Ted Cruz or any of the policies that President-elect Trump is pushing had been in effect, then it's likely that Jocelyn Nungaray would be alive today. These types of horrific crimes committed by illegal immigrants crossing our border have to stop. The family of Jocelyn is in a position they never dreamed would happen to them. And I think it's unfair for anybody with children to be subject to criminals committing horrific crimes that don't have to happen. If these fellas hadn't been in our country, Jocelyn would be alive. If the Border Patrol had continued to keep them in custody, as Senator Cruz's bill would have required, Jocelyn would be alive. So what really gets at prosecutors and gets to me about this case is that it was preventable.
Yeah, she's absolutely right. And Lawrence, you were talking a little bit about how it is illegal in the state of Texas to have a sanctuary city. Glenn Youngkin, there's a great story on foxnews.com right now. Glenn Youngkin, who is the governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, he is introducing a budget proposal to essentially create a sanctuary city ban in Virginia. Because if you are a sanctuary city in Virginia, essentially it would cut off state funds to the city if you do not cooperate with ICE. That is a sea change from what has been going on down there, but it's also reflective of just ever since Donald Trump was elected and Tom Homan was designated the border czar, there's been a sea change in the United States regarding migrants. A lot of people, they looked at the polls, they realized this was a big issue. People don't like so many people here who are in the country illegally, and many have committed crime, and they're finally doing something about it.
Ainsley, this has become just the common sense of the American people right here. You can't have criminals. You can't have people just crossing the border unvetted. We don't know who they are. And tragically, we have a young girl, life totally ahead of her, raped and murdered.
Terrible.
And it's because of Joe Biden's immigration policy that allowed him to get here.
We're smarter than this as a country. And I think the American people, they voiced that at the polls in November. We know when you see the faces of Jocelyn, or you see the faces of Laken Riley, her killer too, would have been behind bars if this weren't a sanctuary city and if we didn't protect the illegals. That guy had a rap sheet. Instead, he was at the Roosevelt Hotel that you, the taxpayer, were paying for. And then he requested to get on a plane and fly down to Athens with his brother, which is where they lived, right next to that park where Laken Riley was killed. So in both of these situations, if they had been deported initially, when they not only did they break the law when they came across, but also committed more crimes, they should have been deported. And they weren't. And now 2 little girls' lives are gone, lost forever.
Jocelyn's parents were with President Trump in Arizona, speaking at a lot of events. They want to make sure this doesn't happen again, but it did. We found out that a 7-year-old lost their lives when an illegal alien driving drunk killed her. Tom Homan saw this story, knew it already. We played it back to him. Here's his reaction.
Throughout my career, I've seen a lot of tragedies. We've talked about many tragedies. I've been back with tractor trailer in 19 dead people at my feet, including a 5-year-old boy that suffocated to death. I thought the girls as young as 9 years old that were raped multiple times by the criminal cartels. And once you sit to we talked to a little 9-year-old girl and that went through that sort of hell, it changes who you are. So yeah, I'm very passionate. It isn't just about illegal immigration. It's about the sexual assault of young girls and the murder of young girls in this country this year. It breaks my heart. And it's about fentanyl. It's killed a quarter million Americans. It's about a record number of people on terrorist watch lists. It's about 600% increase in sex trafficking. It's sick, and we can stop it. President Trump had the most secure border of my lifetime. We had the stuff locked down, and this administration opened the border up, and we have all this bad things happening now.
So now he's taking action, and he's not just sitting around. Now he's got the border czar title. You know, he's been in Chicago. You know, he's been to New York. Yesterday, he met with Mayor Adams, who was a captain of the police. And even though he wasn't as active, and he's been a little wishy-washy on this, when Joe Biden gave him the Heisman, when he asked for some money to finance the 67,000, the 100,000+ of trafficked through here illegally, and the 67,000 were still housing, they wanted no part of Mayor Adams. Now he, under indictment, maybe perhaps, he sat down with Tom Homan. He goes, I want to hear what his plan is. And the plan impressed the mayor, and the mayor impressed Homan.
Yesterday, I saw a complete 180. I saw the cop in him, and he has promised to work with us to target violent, criminal, illegal aliens in this city and to help us find over 300,000 missing children that this administration released to unvetted sponsors. I saw Eric Adams, a career cop, and he really cares about public safety of the city, and he wants to do what he can, and he's willing to take the hits from the left to do it because it's the right thing to do. He's putting public safety over politics. I even gave him credit because once he agreed to sit down, I'm not going to give their names yet, but 2 other mayors have reached out until I verify they're going to get to the table with me. Already reached out. So I think this starts a domino effect. If you knowingly conceal or harbor an illegal alien from ICE, that is a felony. When I was an agent a long time ago, I've arrested U.S. citizens for harboring an alien in their home or place of employment. If I can do it to a citizen, why can't I do it to a politician who's going to actively get in our way, prevent us from doing our job?
To the Democratic mayors, it's not too late to do the right thing. I mean, you have the political cover of there being a mandate. The 60% of the country is for mass deportations. If you look at all of your cities, they pretty much went more red. So there's a mandate when it comes to the country. There's a vibe when it comes to the country. Just do the right thing. We're only asking you to do the logical thing. When there are criminals in your custody, just turn them over to ICE. No one even is asking for your assistance for the other deportation. Tom Homan made it very clear. I'm not asking local police to be a part of ICE. I just want the criminals. Turn them over.
You know, and the message is so loud and clear from Tom Homan and Donald Trump. And the reason it's loud and clear is because we haven't heard this for 4 years. I mean, in the interview with us, he's talking about going after criminal aliens, people who are in this country. A lot of them committed felonies, and they're out and about and in sanctuary cities and elsewhere. And he's talking about finding the missing children. 300,000 missing children is the number. It could be much higher than that. So, you know, bravo to the two of them sitting down. Politically, they come from different worlds, but they are united in one thing, and that is to make America safer.
All right. The thing is, it's going to get a little bit more difficult after the criminals.
That's right.
They are going to throw out the families because you don't belong here, you overstayed your visa, you don't show up. You'll be next, and little by little, they'll get down to it. Then when it comes down to the Dreamers, there'll probably be a deal to be had. But for 26 states, they're going to be doing the right thing, putting pressure on the other 24.
Public safety over politics, they both have said.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.